So you have finished your first draft, you have gone through and done all of your self edits, and you've made your manuscript the best that you can make it. The next step is finding a professional editor. But how exactly do you go about doing that? Hi, my name is Willow Asteria. I am a dark fantasy romance author, and I'm here to give you a couple of tips on how to find an editor that will work best for you. The first question that you want to ask yourself is, are you going to be looking for a developmental editor or a copy line editor? These are two very, very different types of edits. Developmental is more going to be story based. So does it hit the plot points that you want it to hit? Does your story need to maybe be rearranged? Does it need maybe to add things to make the story as strong as it can? Now, a copy line editor, they're going to be doing your sentence structure, your syntax, your grammar, things like that. So once you figure out what type of editor that you want to use, one of the best ways to actually find editors that are very good and reputable within the publishing space is asking other authors. Especially if you are, you're new, you don't really know, that could be a great place to start. So one, if you are in any author groups on Facebook, on Discord, making a call on TikTok or social media, say, hey, I am looking for an editor. Does anybody have any recommendations? Now, this is going to be good for a couple of reasons. You're going to know who is going to be in the business that is reliable, that has worked with other authors. And when you ask for recommendations, you will be getting that from people that have worked with them in the past. So you know whether or not they are amazing or not so. So once you have gathered a couple of them, what you can do is you want to reach out to them and see if they do sample edits. Now, if an editor does not offer a free sample edit, you need to run. That is a huge, huge red flag. Editors definitely should be offering those free sample edits so that we can see if their style is going to be right for us. And there are going to be a couple of questions that you are going to want to ask them prior to you sending these samples. So number one, what style do they edit in? There are different editing styles, different manuscripts that they go off of. And you want to see, if they're actually going off of something or if they're just kind of pulling things from nowhere, because those style guides are going to, what dictates the rules. Another really important thing to ask them is timeframes as well, because you don't want to start, you don't want to get deep into a conversation with somebody and think that you really want to go with this editor, but they're not going to work within your timeframe or your budget. So always make sure that you ask those questions as well. Now, circling back to those sample edits, I highly recommend that for this, typically they're going to be about 1,000 words. That's what you see typically within the industry. So what you'll do is you'll pick 1,000 words from your manuscript, and I highly recommend picking something from the middle of your manuscript compared to the beginning. And one of the reasons I recommend this is because when you're in the middle of it, that is when you were most deep into it. So you're going to see more of the flow that you would have throughout the book compared to the beginning, because when you're in the beginning, you're just kind of starting to find your flow. So the beginning of the book typically may read a little bit different than the middle. What I definitely recommend doing with these sample edits is putting in control errors. And what I mean by that is, remember a couple videos back when I talked about alpha and beta reading? Go back to those feedbacks and see if there's anything that you noticed that a lot of people commented on. Let's say that you have, for me example, I am very dyslexic. And with my dyslexia, sometimes I will write a word. The word that I'm writing is not the word that I think that I'm writing. For example, there was one time I was talking about running obstacles, and I thought that I wrote obstacles, and I read it many, many times, and I read it as obstacles. The word was not obstacles. The word was obstetrical. They looked similar in my brain. My brain told me that is the word. So what I did was I went and I put in similar types of errors in my sample. I would do things like that. I would do random commas, places, to see if they would catch things like that. I think even at one point, I think I like cut a sentence off. Like I removed like half a sentence. Like, I don't know if it was like the end of the sentence or like a middle of a sentence, because I wanted to see if these editors were going to catch errors that I know that I do often. Now, not all of them did, and the ones that didn't were immediately, not hired. And when you get these sample edits back, you want to send samples out to a couple of different editors, because you want to find editors that, one, not only spot those errors, but also ones that do not take away your voice as an author. Every author has a unique voice and a unique writing style, and you never want that to be covered up by an editor's writing style. You never want your voice stolen away. So once you have done all of those things, you are definitely better able to determine what editor that could be right for you. If you have any questions, make sure you drop them down below. I do monthly author interviews. Maybe 1 month, instead of doing an author, maybe we'll bring on an editor, and we'll pop up some of those questions for you guys if that is something that you are interested. Make sure that you subscribe so you do not miss out on any new videos. We drop a video every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will see you guys next time.